here.
This is our podcast. Circle back about it.
I guess it's been chosen. That's
With
our
Brett
podcast
and
name. Yeah.
And the goal of this podcast is to go over things that have happened in the music industry, releases, shows, and whatnot, and just give our expert opinion on them that everyone wants to hear.
We have expert opinions.
Right. So I feel like anyone who's going to be watching this is, just to start off, is going to know exactly who we are.
Which we'll explain shortly.
Maybe we should do a quick elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Not spend too much time on it, though.
No.
All right. So you go first.
Okay.
What's the Brett elevator
My
pitch?
name is Brett Blackman, and I am a music manager. So I work with the artists AO Beats and Miquela, who started the record label Moving Castle, which I also help run. And I also work with Sakima, as well as Hotel Garuda, and a new artist named Hiko Momoji.
Amazing. I'm Ian Galdi. I'm a manager. I've also run a label before, and I do marketing and social media consulting as well. I have a band called Savoy, another band called Jaguar Dreams, and an amazing pop artist called Mona on the Radio, among many other projects. You know what I'd like to start on?
Let's start with whatever you want to start on.
Good.
Okay.
I would like that. I want to talk about Bon Iver.
Okay.
Because I'd been a fan of Bon Iver for a really long time, and I had never seen him in concert, and I finally got to. I did not really get into Bon Iver until way later. I was just completely fucking smitten by 22 A Million. I thought that album was brilliant.
Pretty amazing.
And obviously I had heard Skinny Love prior to then and some other of his tunes, but 22 A Million really grabbed me just because of how he was really changing things and doing something completely different with folk and indie rock music. It wasn't the show I was expecting to see. He didn't play any of the music I knew. He didn't play anything from 22 A Million or Skinny Love, to the disappointment of someone that I heard that was drunk while we were walking out, who was like, "Why didn't he play Skinny Love and also put on a hat, you bald idiot?" And I was like, that's a sick take of the Bon Iver show, bro. But what he did this amazing thing with a company called Two Dance. Two Dance is also from St. Paul, and they're this unbelievable, just amazing dance company.
Yeah.
Modern and ballet and stuff. And he had collaborated with them to have a whole new dance performance.
That's awesome.
To presumably all of his new music, because he played some songs that I had seen on YouTube. There was this thing going around for a while where Bon Iver was doing a new song with Young Thug, and it turned out it wasn't Young Thug. But it sounds just like Young Thug, but it's amazing. Anyway, so he played that, so that signaled to me okay, this is all his new music, because I didn't know anything. And it was him on a riser with his band, with a 4-piece band including him, and then all this space in front. Mind you, this is at Hollywood Bowl, so it's in front of 17,000 people. So he did this performance, and there was all these dancers. There was I think a team of 10 dancers,
right?
And all this space, most of the stage was that, and there was this big LED wall, and it's just one of the coolest conceptualized projects I've ever seen. The visuals went along with it, the dancing went along with it. It really brought you into his world. And
totally.
I watched an interview with him about it after I saw the show, and what I came away with the show was it was really about connectivity and how we've lost a lot of that as humans, and just trying to bring that back. And if we could somehow connect with each other better, then we might all be better off. And it's crazy that just through dance, and a lot of the songs were very instrumental based, and he sang a lot, but his lyrics are I feel notably complex. You really have to read into them. But even despite all of that, I totally came away from the show with that feeling that this show was about humans connecting with one another.
Yeah.
And he reaffirmed that in an interview later, which was totally... it just made me realize, oh my God, if you design a show well enough, then you can... your message will come across, totally. And it made me really happy that 17,000 people were willing to come out to watch Bon Iver's art experiment. This was the third time he had ever performed this. He performed it in St. Paul.
With the dance.
He performed it in St. Paul. Yeah. Either, I think, Philly or New York. I don't remember which one.
I feel like
probably
New York.
Yeah. And then LA. And that's it. And I don't know whether he's going to perform it more. I really hope he does. I would imagine he will. Because it was...
Maybe Coachella this year.
Maybe Coachella. Let's talk about Virtual Self.
I was lucky enough to see him at his warehouse party debut in New York City last year, actually. And I mean, I just have to say he's gone like above and beyond putting himself into the project over the last few years since going into hiding as Porter Robinson.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
You know, even as someone who's like seeing it from, you know, quote unquote behind the curtain, or this poses so many questions. Like,
right.
Is he done with World's Porter Robinson?
Right.
Is Virtual Self its own thing? Seemingly it is. The quote that gets flown around a lot is it's his love letter
right.
to early rave music.
It's another part of him that's a huge part of him that he was never able to share sonically via Porter Robinson, that he's had like stored up in him, that's been like a mix of like hard style and like more video game or anime like leaning music, that it's like all in one, where like it's another chapter in his life. And I think looking at a lot of different artists in general, I think some of them just get bored easily, or think that a certain sound doesn't like encompass like that other part of them. So I think visually speaking as well as sonically, Virtual Self is the way he couldn't explain Porter Robinson.
Where does that take us from here? Because
right.
You know, when he released Worlds, he was like, this is canon.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally tweeted that out and was like, this is Porter Robinson canon. All that stuff is not. Like, this is what I'm about now. And then kind of flipped the script. And yeah. I guess it's not that fair to say that he flipped the script, because Virtual Self is Virtual Self and Porter Robinson is
right.
Porter Robinson, presumably. I guess if I was the one working on this,
right.
I so badly would want like those two parts of him to kind of like be expressed continuously.
Right.
Like, I would hope that there is more Worlds type Porter Robinson music in the future, and then of course more Virtual Self type
right
stuff.
I mean, I think if you look at particular artists, let's even say like Skrillex,
sure,
or even Diplo, like I think a lot of them sometimes have chapters of their lives where it's like, this is like Jack U season, or this is Dog Blood season, or like these are different things. But I think for Porter Robinson, it's much more personal. I think everyone puts all of themselves in their music. Uh-huh. But I think he's literally like compartmentalized himself as these two beings, where there's like the angel and devil. But I think it's cool to see where he's taken it.
And yeah, and he's taking this, it's literally his Virtual Self. I mean, he has like Technic Angel and, you know, stuff like that. And it's kind of like, it interested me a lot because there's other, not necessarily musical projects, or now they're sort of venturing, or this one that I'm about to segue into has done it. But it's something I've been following for a while called Lil Miquela. Or Miquela. I heard Insta tag is Lil Miquela. It's this project that has been started. I mean, I guess like if you were to explain Miquela to someone who didn't know about Miquela, what would you say?
I mean, Miquela is like a Cinema 4D character that also is a singing project as well as a model. It's a digital representation that, because of the internet, like you can have this and people follow the storyline. In a way, it's like a Miku.
Because the creators of the project are not secretive about
they're not
who they are. If you just look it up, there's TechCrunch articles on it. I've always seen it as like a story that they were trying to tell. In the same way that someone like really enjoy, like, to me, this is the new comic books almost. Like, comic books are their own thing, and I don't think that'll ever die, but like, because people love that stuff.
Right.
But this is almost like it's a new way of storytelling.
I mean, the craziest thing is like they created this character and people think she's real, but like they say she's not. She's like superimposed in photos with like real people, and like she just put out a song with Bauer, and the music video, this vertical video, is actually pretty tight. That's on Spotify exclusively, and like she's in it, and like it's like you're basically scrolling on Spotify like on the channel, and then where the art would be, it's like her in a video. It's wild. You just have to watch it.
I guess my question is kind of like, I think there's going to be a lot of people who see this and start to know about it in the musical community because the project is clearly venturing into music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not just going to do a one-off song with Bauer. The interesting thing is you're going to get a lot of backlash. You're going to let a lot of people that are just like, it's not real. But what...
Well, not.
Right. I guess that's what I'm trying to unpack here, is the essence of music and presenting media online is storytelling.
Yeah.
For example, you saw Virtual Self.
Yes.
But it's a limited tour. You know, the Bon Iver thing that I talked about earlier, it only happened 3 times. So if you live in the middle of the country where people don't tour, the only way you're going to consume it is online.
Right.
Unless you fly, if you can't afford that, like, let's just assume that you can't, you know, it's not accessible.
Right.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is so much of the stuff you're consuming is online. I just turned 30 and I saw Bon Iver for the first time. So that tells you how, like, rare that connectivity is.
Right.
The live in-person aspect of it has become so low that it's like, if we're just telling stories, how is this story not real?
I guess what's interesting is like any character, like she is a character and there's character development, and instead of fully building a story with other fictional characters, they're literally building her storyline with like Bauer, or like doing a clothing shoot for like, let's just say, I don't think she actually did it, but like Off-White or Nike or whatever.
No, she did. She's in like the new Vogue.
So that's crazy. Oh, funnily enough, when I was in Vegas like a year ago,
Is funnily a word?
If it isn't, it's now.
It is now.
Okay.
Brett Blackman, funnily.
So when I was in Vegas, I was passing through the mall. Meet me at the mall. It's going down. Okay. Anyway, passed Louis Vuitton, and in the Louis Vuitton store, the model was literally a character from Final Fantasy. I'm sorry, guys, I never played the game, but I knew it literally said it was Final Fantasy, but like that was the model. So basically, Louis Vuitton paid the creators or whatever to do that, and they've done this with like Miku also. That it's like, it's easier. There's no hassle. Like, they're an icon. That would be like, it's a thing. Like, it's just like, it's smart.
I'm interested, as we've been presented this concept, right? That like we can now have these new spaces of storytelling.
Yeah.
And so I'm really interested to see how more people kind of push those boundaries.
So there's a person in mind with that, is my friend Kitten Janae. So she creates these different characters, maybe not as similar or like frequent as like little Miquela, but
Did she just put something out?
She just announced a show of hers at the LACMA.
Oh, crazy.
And so like she's done these shows where like she portrays her characters who like have these like backgrounds that she explains in it, and it's just crazy. Like, there's these digital characters that you just feel really part of.
I'm going to try and tie it to it, but I'm going to talk about Yoshi Flower in a second.
Sure.
But I really like what Yoshi's doing because it's him, right?
Yeah.
He's not lying about it. It's very clearly him and his emotions, but it's obviously like who he is in real life on steroids.
Exaggerated. It's kind of like Elohim, which they do stuff together.
Right. If you meet L, it's a much more subdued version.
She's a little calmer in real life.
She's a little calmer in real life.
They are very kind people and like want to talk about like fear, depression, anxiety, and like it's okay to overcome that.
Totally.
Which I'm glad we're actually talking about that.
Yeah, I think
right
that's a really important topic. This podcast is current things that are happening peripherally in our musical worlds. And, you know, I just saw the Bon Iver show. Brett saw the Virtual Self show.
Hard Summer.
At Hard Summer.
And we both went to Panic at the Disco.
We both went to Panic at the Disco, which I would love to talk about.
We should do that.
We should talk about that. I think they're both sort of similar in the way that what would be the similarities between Panic at the Disco and Yoshi Flower? That's an interesting topic. They're both taking a lane and kind of like pivoting it into their own way.
Right.
Whereas like Panic at the Disco took pop punk music and was like, I love Queen and the theater. I'm not going to put out verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want because like I have this insane range of octaves I can work with and this theatrical way of writing. He uses, I mean, these just like his vocabulary is just so impressive. And I think what's similar to how that ties into Yoshi is like he is sort of taking like the essence of pop punk and the essence of what like hip hop has sort of become and sort of mashing it into this like very raw emotions. It almost feels like the new punk. Like when I first heard SoundCloud rap, or what's dubbed as SoundCloud rap, I was like, this is the new punk rock. Here's music for if you're a kid and you are angry and you don't have a way to express that anger, or you don't like the ways you've been told you're allowed to express that anger, this music is for you. But I guess the issue with that is like when you see like a really controversial project like 6ix9ine or something like that, you know, taking those aesthetics, it's not really about anger anymore. It's more just about chaos and destruction, which I guess sort of roots in that. But Yoshi's kind of sort of taking it back to more like this is less about maximum energy at all times and more about like the emotions of it and like how I'm dealing with these emotions. They both have to do with letting kids know that they're not alone.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's okay to be sad. And
I
think what I like about Yoshi Flower and, you know, Panic at the Disco, I think it's okay to be yourself, and I think they're creating music that's very relatable. And I think as a guy, sometimes we've been told it's not okay to share our emotions or feelings, and I think both of those projects have done really well about making it feel okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Panic at the Disco has always been about that. It's been like, hey, your emotions are valid, and not only that, you should feel comfortable in yelling them from the rooftops. Let's talk about Panic, because
so I think it was Haley Kiyoko. My bad, guys.
Holy shit, she has some fans.
She has some stans. They were singing, yelling. Like, she had a killer outfit. She's signed to Atlantic. She's, I know, one of their priority clients right now. She just put out an album. She recently put out a music video with Kalani. Mm-hmm. But she's amazing. She's
I just whenever I go to shows like that, like something at the Staples Center or something that big, I like seeing the direct support because it's cool, because it's always like, here's someone on the verge of the tipping point. Like when we saw Odessa, it was
Sophie Tucker.
Thank you, Sophie Tucker.
Chet Porter.
And Chet Porter.
BFF Chet.
Our BFF Chet.
Chet
was amazing.
I love you, Chet.
I love you, Chet. You're just the best.
You're
my favorite boy.
No.
I mean, I have a lot of favorite boys, but you're one of them.
So direct support, seeing direct support.
You don't usually expect there to be like, you expect the people in the front rows to be into it and engaged, but you don't really expect like the whole
There was probably like...
And the whole stadium.
Like a lot. Like at least 5K or more.
I'd say more.
More?
Like, yeah, I mean, because she has like her...
She's lives in LA.
Yeah, I mean, she had so many people. And it's interesting that he, or they or whomever is making decisions on Panic Disco's
Well,
behalf.
Fueled by Ramen is on Atlantic, so it could have been like a mutual thing.
I feel like there's a lot of industry reasons for why she's on there, but I guess one of the reasons that at least was the takeaway for me is that a lot of her message is in support of the LGBTQ
of course
community. It seems to me like he maybe wanted her on that show because he sort of recently came out as bi. And to the credit of like the pop punk community, there really didn't seem to be a whole lot of pushback about that. And like the pop punk community, I think, has always kind of had its like issues with closed-mindedness or open-mindedness because like punk in itself is like super leftist and anarchist and like, accepting of everyone. It's where you go as a quote unquote societal reject.
Right.
But,
that's why I fucking love emo music.
It is why I love emo music, but there's also a lot of emo music that's rooted in the South in areas that are not as, inclusive of those spaces. That was what I came away from it by selecting Haley Kiyoko. He was just basically saying like, no matter who you are, you're accepted at the Panic at the Disco show. And that was so evident in what I was most struck by the show, which is how many different kinds of people were there.
Oh yeah. From all walks of life.
We went because we're like emo scene kids. So, but like there was scene kids.
Yeah.
There was people who were like 5 years older than me and they're 12-year-old kids,
right?
And they're singing along. They're singing songs that I don't even know.
Wait, can we just talk about, he was like, I've been doing this for 14 years touring. Also, before I forget, shout out Headcount for being there. And I think they're on the whole tour and they're signing people up to vote.
I registered in California to vote.
But you guys should vote.
But you should vote, regardless of who you're into. You should vote.
Exactly.
Register to vote. Headcount is tight. Shout out them.
Going back to Panic at the Disco, how about we talk about like the performance and like the visuals and like...
It was just bananas.
It was crazy.
He had so much. He had fire. He had
There
lasers.
was a lot of...
Also, I would like to... Okay, there was one thing that was a little bit strange to me. When I first saw Panic, I think I was 18. And when I saw it, it was a band.
Right.
Like it was Panic at the Disco, the band.
Can we talk about how this time around it was like an orchestra?
Well, despite there being a larger band and it being unbelievable, what I'm about to say does not take away from the performance at all or who he is or like, but it was just from my perspective, the Brendan Urie show.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it was.
Like...
He did a freaking backflip
after
the piano.
It. Like, he literally shot out of the stage.
That was crazy.
And he's, like, running around, like, hey, ladies and gentlemen. Like, he's amazing. He's a theatrical genius. But, like, it definitely was...
Funnily enough, and I'm using the funnily again.
That's the Brett word.
He was just...
A funnily moment brought to you by Brett.
Yeah, we'll make some t-shirts, guys. He was just on, like, Broadway before the tour, so, like, he
doing the Cyndi Lauper thing.
Yeah, and he performed.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
And the girls just do want to have fun. Yeah.
It's a bop.
And then the other cover, as we were saying,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Dude, that was fucking... It was
amazing.
That was epic.
But I think, as if you're around for 14 years, it's very difficult to be around for 14 years and have the same people in your band, especially if you're like, he writes most, if not almost all of his music. I mean, I'm sure at this point in his career with, well, actually I know for a fact because I know several of the people who's helped him work on his music.
Right.
Shout out Ahmad for getting his first Billboard Top 100.
Proud of you, Ahmad.
With Saturday Night. He crushed that.
We love you.
But also, like, Ahmad would tell you that, like, Brendan is very active in the creation of his music.
That said, it was incredible. He played the guitar, the piano. He played the drums.
He did play
a drum set literally came up from the floor.
He flew.
There was a piano that came down from the ground or the ceiling after him going through the crowd, and I like didn't look up at all because I'm an idiot. And then you just see this white piano come down, and then he just gets on it. And thankfully, we're not ruining the show because it's done now. I guess Vegas was like the last show.
We're not ruining the show. There's gonna be. It was deafening in there. There was cameras.
You would have seen it. Anyway, incredible performance.
It's really great to see a band that I cared so much about as a kid, transcending generations.
Totally, and I think that's very rare.
When we showed up, there was literally, first of all, it's an all ages show.
Yeah.
Secondly, there was lines around every corner of that venue waiting to buy merch, waiting to take a picture with a puppet.
Oh my God, the Bebo. Oh well, yeah. the I think that was the name of it. The fortune telling character that went.
No, it's him.
I know, but they said
they named it.
They named it Bebo.
I did not know that. The more you know.
Yeah,
Bebo.
But it goes towards his charity.
Highest Hopes Foundation, a new charity that he's created to support nonprofit organizations in the name of human rights. That's very nice. And if you're at any of the shows, you can get a fortune in exchange for a donation.
And it's worth it.
We
got one. Well,
Ian, is a very heavy word.
Ian paid for it, and he kept the fortune.
I did. What else has happened in the past month that has been really interesting in music? There's Astroworld.
Astroworld came out. They had a last-minute party at Lollapalooza the same night it dropped. The listening party was hosted by Red Bull, and I only know it was Red Bull because one of my friends was like, "You won't believe this. We somehow got Travis Scott to do a listening party for Astroworld at Lolla."
I mean, I just feel like there's been so much hype surrounding this.
I mean, it's been
album.
3 or 4 years
Yeah.
and the features. Dude, John Mayer produced one of the records, and James Blake was on another record, and Drake was on
It's nuts.
And our friend, we're going to keep plugging people, but our friend Roger Chenard, I think that's how you pronounce it, sorry.
The best song on the whole album.
It's fire. I love the fake out in it when he's,
that kid's musical abilities are just unbelievable. If you don't know who Roger is, Roger wrote
Broccoli for Drum and Lil Yachty. He did Skywalker for Miguel. He did... Is it Bad in Love, Halsey?
I'm bad at love.
Bad at love. Both of us bad at love. Okay, jokes aside. Haha.
Here's our new podcast. Brett and Ian are bad at love.
Yeah,
girls. And hope that girls will hear this podcast and think we're smart.
Swipe right. We're super
on
cute.
Our podcast.
Look at us. Okay. Anyway, haha. Anyway, what I just want to say about Roger for a quick second is giving respect to some of these producers behind the scenes, because I feel like some of them just don't ever get love. They're not touring artists. They're not visually in the world. It's even Benny Blanco. Going to Benny, he finally just put out a song for himself.
And now he's top 100 Spotify artists in the world.
Halsey and Khalid.
One song.
And I mean, it's... He and Cashmere Cat just work on a gajillion things together with Ed Sheeran and Julia Michaels being a writer, and Emily Warren being writers,
Spotify
and now having
implementing the tool that allows you to see the metadata of each of the tracks, allows you to see all the writers and the producers. And it's a little tough to get to. You have to right click on it. It's not it's just going to put it in your face.
They just added it on your phone
on
now,
the mobile,
so it's a lot easier
so it is
to
in
check.
The last month. We can talk about this.
I mean,
added on mobile.
Shout out to Spotify for doing that.
I for so long have thought that I wish the unsung heroes were sung heroes. There's so many people that are involved in making a song great, and I think there's so much pressure on artists to show that they're the only person behind it, but that never happens. It's never that way.
No, there's 30 people behind any single release. Let's just go through some quick music we've been listening to on our own.
I'm really pumped for LTC, for Lose the Child.
Yeah.
That song with Wafia.
Better not.
It surpassed.
It's strange.
That's
a moment.
Which is
for them.
such a moment. I think your first moment is always your first hit, where it really pops.
When Taylor Swift shares your song. That's what originally happened.
And the next moment in your career after you pop is when you surpass the first one that popped.
That's special. They were the SoundCloud generation of when Wheat Thin and Bearson and Manila Killa and Jai Wolf
That's someone else who,
Like,
took a hiatus.
Jai Wolf, yeah, he just
And he
spent
just-
16 months not putting out an original. He just put out his new one, Lost. It's so good, and I was talking to Sajib about it, Jai Wolf, and he was like, trying to combine the old sound of Jai Wolf with the future sound that he's trying to, like, segue to. So, I've been lucky enough to hear a lot of the unreleased stuff, and I just have to say, wow.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's going to be really happy, and that's all I can, like, say, but I think they're being correct about what he's doing.
There's a lot of pressure, I feel like, especially in electronic music, to just constantly be releasing music. But I think there's something to be said for taking your time in the way that Porter went away.
Yeah.
In the way that...
Maddion's still not come back.
Maddyon,
where are you, man?
Flume.
I'm looking for you.
Dude, Flume. Flume's the best example.
Flume's gone silent too right now.
He did that between the first and second album, and everyone was like, oh, Flume fell off. And then, of course, biggest fucking song of the year. I think there's something to be said for taking the time to find your sound and your truth and your voice. That stuff will... despite whatever you lose by going away.
You just, what I realize is, being a fan and a manager, it's like, you do not need to be in the face of people all the time. Like, the real ones will stick around. And I think I joke with all my artists about this all the time, is like, have a purpose when you're posting or doing certain things, that there's something like actionable for the most part. Like,
and the actionable thing doesn't have to be music related.
No, it doesn't.
It can be like, I had a great day. Hope you guys had a good day too.
Our roommate Madoka had a great photo today with our dog. Or not our dog.
Our dog.
It's basically our dog, Goo. And it's just like, I wish you have a great Sunday. Anyway, to quickly go through some other stuff, Nash had a really good song called Dear Insecurity with Ben Abrams. And that's another thing about, being honest with your feelings and talking about, like, what you're insecure about. And I really respect what Nash has done. And he's also done a lot of stuff with our friend Ahmad. Mm-hmm. And I could say so many nice things about Nash. Like, he really has made it be okay to be not okay, recently, I guess, Ryan Hemsworth put out a song with 88 Rising's Joji. If you don't know what 88 Rising is, it's a Asian music collective label management company, and they have a festival that's like next month. And Joji was a YouTuber, Vine person. He started like Harlem Shake, but like, he has an amazing voice. Yeah. But incredible besides voice. That, like, Ryan Hemsworth also just, like, announced his tour with Giraffage, and they announced my artist Hotel Garuda on it for a few dates, and Garuda, joining again, went on tour with Giraffage in Europe earlier in the year. And just say some other tours real quick.
Yeah.
Lose the Child announced a tour with, like, Dea and Wafia and Arlem and a few other people, and then, Wheatthins going on tour, and Petite Biscuit are going on tour, and my artist Manila Killa's going on both of those tours.
That's great.
Yeah, and I'm super psyched. They're playing huge rooms. And also just congrats to Alice in Wonderland, who just signed sold out the Shrine.
And she deserves it. So
yeah, she's so nice.
Yeah, so kind and lovely, and like really
has a sick T-shirt collection. Oh, dude, I've been really like into like SG Lewis has been.
I love SG Lewis.
Slamming it. He just put out that song with Claro, and then the music video was like this 90s inspired P Diddy kind of cool like film thing, and like it was tight. And he just put out a song with Aluna George. Bless her voice. Like,
that's someone who's, I think, transcended what it means to be a touring producer. Like I think there's been this bit for like the last like 10 years that if you're a touring producer, you're a DJ and you make dance music. Yeah. And he does make dance music, but it's not EDM.
I think.
And he tours with like a band and like a bunch of singers. And it's like, it's really like flipped the script of like,
what you can be.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
like,
like
you know, he's like,
Muramasa is another person very similar, where like Muramasa, I remember at Coachella was like, I'm gonna bring out some special guests, and this was, I think, either before or after his album, and he literally brought out like 14 special guests. Like literally every single person that was on his album came out.
Going back to what you were saying earlier, no, but Ryan Hemsworth did that too with his Coachella show. He's always done that. He's always been like, I love Ryan.
He's great.
I've always been very curious about his project because it seems like
he works with rappers a lot and like international
he's
people.
He's in his own bubble and on his own island.
Crushes it. People come to him. He just has such a good taste.
I want to plug our roommate Madoka.
Heck yeah.
He's really stepped it up as of late and like been releasing this amazing music. He had a song come out with Craig Owens from Chiodos.
As Bad Channels. He was someone who started and like put out kind of stuff under the guise of like electronic EDM music. Yeah. And, you know, found some success with like a song with Lost Boy Crow. And then like, you know, really started diving in recently to his own music and songwriting. And it's been really inspiring to like hear the creative process from across the hall, but also just like he really puts all of his honesty and feelings into that, and it's showing, you know, and it's feels like as soon as he made the decision to be honest and write and sing and like show the world who he was, forward momentum went. Shout out to his manager and our friend Christina Bomeo.
Yeah, she's crushing it.
But they do like Puya and Borgor and Getter, who Madoka has a song with Getter
on his new album.
Have you ever listened to old Getter? Getter had a song with Oliver Tree that's like sick for like chill.
That music
video is so funny. Oh my god.
It's
also,
so good.
Shout out Oliver Tree one time, that wacko.
Your haircut is...
Is it real? I must know.
It might be a wig.
We don't know.
Wig.
Snatch.
Nice.
Anyway.
But yeah, Jaguar Dreams. Jaguar Dreams is a project that I just helped launch. And I'm just so proud of those dudes because like they really took, similar to Chaz, they really took the time to like decide, hey, here's what we really truly believe in and here's what we want to present to the world, and did it and executed it and went and like shot the music video themselves and edited it themselves and directed it themselves and are really responsible for a lot of the creative and like
What's the room? The really cool
Dream Machine. And it's coming to LA.
That's amazing.
And we'll be able to go there and take Instagram pictures. It's gonna be great.
Do you ever go to the ice cream museum?
I didn't, but it's a similar vibe.
It's cool.
But yeah, they've got a new song coming out next week, or this coming week, I guess. And I'm really, that will unfold more, and you guys will see it. And
it's really good, guys.
It's really fucking phenomenal.
And I'm not trying to gas up my roommate just because.
I mean, you should.
I might.
But also, this other project, Mona on the Radio. This guy Mona from Montreal is just like. Just another. I've always been really drawn to creatives. Anytime someone comes to me and is like,
has a vision,
here's my world, and they can't stop talking about it, I'm just like,
I remember meeting with Mark, your co-manager on it.
Right.
He just sat us down one day. He's like, watch all of this. I'm like, watch all of what? And he just started playing all the music videos, and I'm like,
we've only put out we've only put out like 3 things, but like there's
a lot.
There's this mountain of just like this whole world. But I fell in love with it because it was so clear that it's his world, it's his vision, and he's doing it. It's honest. It's all honesty. Stories are better when they're honest stories. And you know, like we were talking about, like, you know, Yoshi, it's your story on steroids.
Right. For Moving Castle, like AO Beats and RoboKid just put out a music video called Sunny, and it was all done by them, edited by them, and it just talks about like. There's like this blurred lines between like being an artist and being in the studio, and like it's like a metaphor of when it's like it's so sunny outside and blah blah blah. You should watch the video. It's just a metaphor for like you're just so in your own world, and then when you go outside, it's just like whoa, like outside of your bubble. Because like as a music manager, there's sometimes we're in a bubble with like all these other people.
Totally.
But I mean, I just appreciate all these artists we've spoken about this evening they're just doing their thing.
That's my takeaway. Is
like,
that, like
today we were
all of
like,
the things,
let's order all of the stuff and start
a podcast. If you have a vision, go to Guitar Center, buy the stuff, and start it.
I hope people like this.
But me too.
Anyway,
but
yeah.
like the connective tissue, I guess, so to speak, between all these artists is that, you know, it's uninhibited vision.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bon Iver or Virtual Self or Lil Miquela, you know, or Jaguar Dreams or Oliver Tree or AO or whomever, it's their vision completely uninhibited.
Right.
Stories that are based on the truth that you're trying to present are the best stories.
Yeah.
And the new modes of storytelling,
Yeah.
whether it's you doing something on Instagram or you making a lot of music videos and it being predominantly YouTube based, or you know, or even like physical stuff, like, you know, Lil Miquela being in Vogue or whatever. All these new ways of like storytelling, I think, are just promoting honesty.
Yeah.
And being, you know, who you are, being yourself.
I mean, at the end, I think a lot of these artists have a burning passion, and their vision, again, is like very clear. And I think the right people have gathered to team with all these people, where honestly, like a lot of the artists that I was talking about from the SoundCloud era from 4 years ago, and like you're a part of that too, like all those managers came up at the same time as their artists. And I think that's why we're so on the same page and so proud of one another for different reasons, of like someone who's like knew everything to do right away and just like boom, superstar. But that's not always the case.
No, of course not.
But you know what I mean.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good place to wrap up.
Yeah,
we've talked about a bunch of cool music, and you know, I'm really excited to come back next month and talk about
a lot of other stuff
that has transpired between now and then.
Yeah.
But let's circle back about this next time on Dragon Ball Z.